Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you have any cell phones, please mute your phones for the meeting. Becky, will you call roll?
Sure. Jack Scrogstad,
Here.
Danielle Allen, Katie White,
Here.
Ron Gascoigne,
Here.
Reed Acree.
Here.
All right. Any public attendees? Anyone here not on the board or on the committee? I don't see anybody. All right. If anyone has looked at the minutes from April 10th, if there's no changes or corrections to the minutes, they'll stand. Anyone that got any corrections to make on the minutes? You had time to look at them? Okay, I see no objections, so they'll be stand as presented. Transportation solid waste, Dave Anderson, will you walk us through your report on intergovernment agreement items on the agenda?
Okay, so I've drafted intergovernmental agreement with South Dixon Township, but it's not coming to you for a vote this month because I wanted to have an opportunity to just have a discussion with you on it first, and then I'll ship it off to both Wendy and Charlie for review, and then potentially bring it next month. But I thought maybe I better start out with how our current operations are working in the Dixon area with our satellite office, or not satellite office, satellite site basically on 4th Street, and then why we're even contemplating a intergovernmental agreement with South Dixon Township. Right now at 4th Street, as most of you know, there's a building where we can store a couple trucks and an end loader, and then there's a small salt shed. So what we do with that is we run the routes that are close to Dixon out of that, and all winter long. So, you know, say Rock Island, Lost Nation, the roads that we have on Palmyra Township, Lowell Park Road, you know, those kind of routes, we run that, and that way we get a better response time for roads in that section of the county. So, you know, as everybody's also aware, there's a proposal sort of hanging out there. You've seen some of the budget numbers on a potential new facility as well for the highway department. And the idea for that would be then we would not need that 4th Street property anymore, at least for our uses. The board could decide what they would like to do for that, whether divest of the property or do something else with it or whatever you like. But we really wouldn't need that. So then that leads me into the discussion of the South Dixon thing. What we would do out of a proposed new facility is run all of our trucks out of there first thing in the morning. But then if we had some salt closer to those Dixon routes, then you wouldn't need to make that trek back to somewhere between Dixon and Amboy. You'd be right there in Dixon to reload and keep going for the day. So it would speed up those operations. In discussions with the highway commissioner in South Dixon Township, he would like to build a salt storage facility. And they would be willing to increase the size of the facility to also accommodate our needs, not just theirs. And in return for doing so, we would basically just keep the salt bin stocked, you know, for them to use, and probably put in the agreement kind of a cap of 100 ton, you know, per year use on their part. So things don't get too out of control over time or something like that. But they're willing at this point to entertain the idea of building a larger salt storage facility to accommodate us. We would then just leave our loader that we would normally have. We would just leave it there. They could use it. And then obviously we'd use it to load salt out of there. So that's what the intergovernmental agreement is basically for, is for us to be able to use and access that facility. And, you know, they would build it bigger to accommodate our needs, and we would supply them a little salt. That's the essence of the agreement. Now, I got a number of other little details in there, which you'll see later, but I just wanted to throw that out there for you to consider, to talk about, to think about, and then, you know, I'd probably bring it next month. So any questions on that, or maybe the why? What, you know, I hope to explain why. But if you have any other questions, let me know.
Any questions for David? I think you pretty much covered it. I mean, all of it makes total sense. So any questions additionally?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be passing this along to Charlie and Wendy, like I say, and then probably look for it next month.
Great. All right, thank you very much. Okay, and then there's nothing for solid waste, I understand. Everything's going well with that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, everything's going well with that, continuing the electronics collection and so forth. So that'll be going to November.
Great. Okay. All right. Assessor's Office, GIS Department. Jennifer, would you like to share your report with the committee and walk us through the appointments and reappointments you have on your agenda?
Good morning. Yes, couple quick updates on the assessment office. We're working on our, some of the annual task lists have started to come back in already. We've asked the township assessors and field inspectors to have those turned in by June 15th, and we've already received some of those back, so that'll be good to get a head start on those. Also, we obtained a list of damaged property out in Woodhaven from the storm at the end of March, the EF2 tornado that they had. There was approximately 500 lots they identified with some kind of damage. We were able to whittle down the list to about 100 lots that have assessed property that may need to be looked at. So we compiled a new task list to go out and have those lots inspected from that storm damage. So that's kind of where the assessment office is right now for their work. Resolutions that we have on the agenda, we do have 2 reappointments. We have Jim Burke that I'm asking to be reappointed to the Farmland Committee. He was originally appointed in 2011, so he has 12 years' experience on the Farmland Committee. And Lori Urbis is also up for reappointment to the Board of Review. And she was originally appointed in 2013, so she has about 10 years' experience on the Board of Review. These are each 2-year terms, so we're just asking for those 2 to be reappointed. And then we also have on the Board of Review, Tom Mead, who had been on the board for several years, has retired effective May 31st of this year. So we need to replace him on the Board of Review. So I'm asking for a new appointment of Cole Olson to be appointed on the Board of Review. He is, I'm proposing that he be appointed for a 2-year term beginning on June 1st of 2023. I've confirmed that he meets the political party requirement. Board of Review requires 2 members from the party polling the highest vote for any office in the county, which is the Republican vote. So we have our 2 members that are the Republican members, but then we need 1 member that is a member of any other party other than Republicans. So Cole, I've confirmed that he's not the Republican Party, so he meets that requirement. And we can see from the responses on his request for the appointment form that's attached in the agenda, there were some questions in there for him that he brings an agricultural and farming background to the table that the other 2 members on the Board of Review do not have. So that experience working with the farming community and also working as his own business, running his own farming business, working on the business end of that and working with many different kinds of peoples will bring good experience to the board. There's a more detailed list of his qualifications attached to that board action request, but I'm asking for his appointment and Jim Burke and Lori Urbis's reappointment.
Okay.
Do you have any questions on that?
Yep. Any questions for Jennifer on these appointments? Okay. All right.
So for a little bit of a GIS update, we have our Logan is going to be our GIS technician starting for the summer. He says that he'll be available to start with us May 21st for the summer. I talked about before that he's still in college at UW-Whitewater, so he will be doing a summer internship basically with us and then going back to school in the fall and hopefully joining us permanently when he graduates in December. And also in the GIS world recently, Sammy and I had an opportunity to attend a conference through EagleView, who provides our aerial photography. And that conference was in San Antonio, Texas. And that was fully provided by EagleView as part of our package that we purchased from EagleView, is our services that we purchased from EagleView. This conference is included with that. And for good reason, because a lot of it is for them to promote their services, but they promote their new and upcoming technologies. It was a great experience to work with some of their breakout sessions, including hands-on training, behind the scenes, understanding on how they are able to create the products that we use with our maps every day, and information on new products that will streamline and innovate assessments in the future. So also there was great food and entertainment. So it was a well-balanced experience all around. It was a very nice experience. But during that conference, during that time frame that Sammy and I were there, unfortunately, Sammy was dealing with something that had him a little distracted from this time. And he had what I would say is a family emergency going on. In Sudan, his family was very near the war zone that was breaking out between the government and the militia. And I wanted to give Sammy an opportunity to talk to you all a little bit about that, because I feel it's very important, as Sammy is part of our staff and part of our Lee County family, that we want to be able to support him and understand a little bit more about what is going on there and that it's affecting us here. So Sammy, would you like to talk a little bit about that, and then any other GIS updates that you have?
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to provide you with a brief update on the situation in Sudan, my native country. Sudan's military and Rapid Support Forces militia have been engaged in intense clashes and fighting since mid-April. This ongoing conflict has severe humanitarian consequences and has caused significant changes in all aspects of Sudanese lives. Oh, no, it's okay. I'm sorry. This ongoing conflict has severe humanitarian consequences, and this ongoing conflict has severe humanitarian consequences and has caused significant changes in all aspects of Sudanese lives. Hundreds of people have been killed, thousands have been injured, hundreds of thousands have been forced to flee their homes. Many children have had their education disrupted, and many individuals remain stuck in ever more deteriorating and insecure conditions, lacking access to food and essential services and water. It has also prompted several countries, including the United States, to evacuate personnel from Sudan and indefinitely shutter diplomatic missions there. Before the war, my family and many other Sudanese families lived happily and peacefully in a country with a very diverse ethnic culture and a rich history. My family fled their home after witnessing a horrific attack and multiple deaths in the neighborhood. They began their long and difficult journey 2 weeks ago, and thankfully they made it safe and sound to one of the neighboring countries just yesterday, leaving behind all their belongings. Sudan is considered one of the richest countries in terms of natural resources such as water sources, agricultural land, gold reserves, mineral resources, oil and gas fields, etc. Now that everything has been destroyed in Sudan, Sudan is on the verge of collapse, making the cost of rebuilding the country very high. May Allah bless Sudan, protect its people, and grant them peace. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to highlight the crisis in Sudan.
Our prayers are with you and your family.
Thank
Sammy.
you. Thank you so much.
And go ahead.
Thank you.
With your report then.
My report for the GIS department, I've been working on updating both the 911 flex map and the zoning map. Also, I've been working on creating and verifying the mailing list of the adjacent landowners for some zoning petitions. I've created and submitted the City of Dixon Road Network data spreadsheet with the address ranges requested by the Water Department. I've been working also on processing the most recent parcel data changes or change requests, the split and combination transactions. Regarding the Future View 2023 conference in San Antonio was an excellent experience to attend. All the seminars were informative and well presented. We had the chance to participate in many hands-on training and workshops sessions. We gained more knowledge about the latest best practices for government agencies and the most advanced mapping tools and aerial image capturing sensors. Also, the welcoming reception and the appreciation event were incredible. There was a lot of interesting and actionable content, like the drone show and the Back to the Future show.
Have you watched Back to the Future yet?
Yes, finally. Thank you.
The theme of the whole conference was Back to the Future, because the conference is always Future View, but it's been on hold because of COVID. And we get there and they've got the car and they've got dock and everything, and
Flux
they're
capacitor.
playing, the flux capacitor, everything. The whole conference is sort of themed on Back to the Future, and poor Sammy has never seen Back to the Future. I said, your assignment is to watch
That's right.
the movie.
The 40 years now.
Then you got to check out the movie Airplane too. That's a good movie. So, all right.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have more?
That's all. That's what I have. Let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for Sammy or Jennifer? Nope. Great. All right, before we move on, let's get these resolutions moved. So is there a motion to move the resolution to appoint Cole Olson to fill the Lee County Board of Review vacancy to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda?
So moved.
Acree and second, Katie. Any discussion on those guys, or on Cole, that is? All right, no discussions. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, say. All right, motion passed. All right, so let's go on to Ms. Herbs. Is there a motion to move the resolution to reappoint Lori Herbs to the Lee County Board of Review to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Yes, Mr. Gascoigne first, seconds. Mr. Acree seconds it. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, resolution to reappoint James Burke to the Lee County Farmland Assessment Review Committee to, is there a motion to move the resolution to reappoint James Burke to the Lee County Farmland Assessment Review Committee to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Katie first it, Mr. Acree seconds it. Any discussion on this? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion passed. Okay, County Board, Wendy, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
I do. There's several things that are already on your agenda. They'll be coming up a little bit later, so I'll leave those till later in the agenda. But this month, there's several items that are coming before the full board that are what I would refer to as non-typical. So I thought it might behoove us to, or for me, to give you a little bit of an overview so that you understand the background before seeing it on your full board agenda. So two things, like I said, are coming up in a few minutes: the rental housing support program, and the health department has some proposed code updates, and I know they're here to present those. The other item that is not on this agenda but will appear at a committee later this morning is the Abandoned Property Focus Group report, specifically as an action item for this month's county board. We 2500 West 4th Street here in Dixon. if you'll recall, was one of our focuses on the abandoned property. We have mitigated the unsafe conditions by removing the shell of a mobile home that was there. We have sealed the well, excuse me. And so we were at a point of allowing that property to go out for sale. Your financial policies allow us to go to either a realtor and sell property, real estate, or to have a sealed bid process, which it encompasses sending out a advertisement in the local newspaper, soliciting bids, and then having a sealed bid opening. We did that process for this 2500 West 4th Street. 2 p.m. last Friday afternoon, we had bid openings. We had 2 bids by both adjacent landowners. The high bid, the winning bid, was in the amount of $5,006. So this month on the full board agenda will be the approval to go ahead and transfer that property by quitclaim deed. Because we're not going through the cost and the process of doing a title policy or a title search. So quitclaim deed will process that property or convey that property to the winning bidder. That'll be on your agenda coming up, as I said. Amboy dispatch agreement will be a little bit later this morning on public safety's agenda, but just to give this committee a heads up, we've been working with the city of Amboy, the mayor and town council or city council to finalize the next revision of the Amboy dispatch agreement. We've been had a dispatch agreement for dispatch 911 phone services since 2011 with Amboy. The current intergovernmental agreement is was up at the end of April, so it's time to sign a new agreement. Tom Kitson took the lead on that one. We've got another agreement ready to go. The city council has that on their agenda for their meeting this evening. But a little bit later at full board, you'll see that intergovernmental agreement. And at the Public Safety Committee meeting a little bit later this morning, they'll be talking about more details. Guaranteed energy savings contract. As many of you have been hearing us talk about, there is a statutory process that is an alternative to your typical bid process, competitive bid process, that allows local governments to enter into a contract with a qualified provider to provide changes to structures such as, let's say, an HVAC system upgrade, which we need in the courts building. Any item that would have some sort of energy savings component to it could be handled through this alternative process. So the way it works is we identify a qualified provider. The qualified provider then begins to, in detail, determine what are the county's priorities, what type of projects, energy saving projects that we'd like to pursue. And through a negotiated procurement process, we work with that qualified provider to identify and solidify those items. In particular, we got down this path because of the HVAC upgrade needed in the courts building. So that process is moving forward. We have had an RFP process to identify a qualified provider. That RFP process, we are at a point where the responses have been received and opened in a public meeting. And then this month, moving through to full board, ultimately will be a award of the RFP for a qualified provider. Keep in mind that at this point, we don't have final numbers. That's the next phase where the county will work in detail with that qualified provider to determine exactly what projects we're going to do. What does that energy savings look like? The energy savings is a big piece of this because the concept behind all of this is that we save energy for the next 10 or 20 years, thereby assisting in paying for the capital improvement that's necessary. So that phase will be next, but first and foremost, what we need to do is select that qualified provider, and that'll be on your agenda for the full board meeting going forward. Jack, I think that's all I've got by way of update from the county board.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Well, I think you're up next because Nancy's not here for her report, but there's a mandate to increase the rental housing support. Should we just vote on that or?
Yeah, how about I give you a little background and then yes, we would be looking for this committee to make a recommendation on that. So the rental housing support program is something that's been in existence for some time. It was a way for the state of Illinois to charge a fee here locally, capture that fee, and then absorb it into a state of Illinois fund. Specifically, it is the Illinois Housing Development Authority Fund. The idea is that this fund help provide rental support for those who need that rental support. The state of Illinois mandated a change to that and it's a recording fee, by the way. They mandated a change to that. It's going from $9 per recorded document up to $18 per recorded document. So the county clerk is actually mandated to take that fee in, and then they transfer that on a monthly basis to the Illinois Housing Development Authority. And then the Illinois Housing Development Authority disseminates that fund throughout the state of Illinois. To be honest with you, not my area of expertise, so I don't know what the criteria are for disseminating that down and how much, for example, Lee County might get back. And I'm not sure if when Clerk Peterson is here, if she could provide more information on that, but that's outside the scope of my knowledge. We're looking for this committee to actually make a recommendation to move this forward to the full board. You might wonder, why are we asking for the board's approval on something the state of Illinois mandated, right?
Just going to ask that.
So the county clerk statewide standard or statute that requires the county clerk to have a predictable fee schedule. So anybody in the public here in Lee County should be able to go on their website or wherever else and find what are the predictable recording fees. So she needs to update her predictable fee schedule, and she's essentially just looking for your sanctioning of that predictable fee schedule, which you typically would approve, because normally these fees are county fees, or at least in part county/state fees. So yeah, we're just looking for your sanctioning of that to add to her predictable fee schedule.
All right. Well, is there a motion to move the mandated increase of rental housing support program surcharge resolution to the executive committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda?
I'll make the motion.
First by Mr. Gascoigne. Any seconds?
You want to take it?
Mr. Aker, you'll second it? Don't fight over it, guys. Come on. Be civil here. All right. Any discussion over this mandated increase that we're supposed to send it? All right. No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Gorski, IT department, he's not here, but he did provide us a report. It's on your onboard if you.
And Jack, I'm sorry, there's one thing I could add to that report as well. He ended up unexpectedly not being here, but he did ask me to at least give one update out of his report, and that is that he's had an opportunity through BEST to hire a summer intern for up to 4 months. In the BEST program, BEST pays for the salary of this individual. What the individual gets from Lee County is, of course, some real world training and, opportunity to be in a real world managed by a supervisor that is knowledgeable in IT. So he is intending to move forward with that. I ask that he touch base with this committee and get your blessing before actually moving forward.
Well, he'd have our blessing because if we remember correctly, didn't our Jonathan come from Beth?
That is absolutely right.
So-
And most recently, Dee in the zoning office is also taking advantage of the BEST program, so we love it.
So this is an awesome opportunity for not only county, but for those individuals that are participating in it. So yes, he has my blessing at least for that. So, all right. Next is Greg Gates. Greg, would you like to walk us through the committee with your report?
Thank you, Jack. The report that I would present are just some highlights at the very top of the report of that first page. Last Tuesday evening, May 9th, our regional, or I should say Reagan Mass Transit District Governing Board held their first meeting. And a lot of it was discussion with the lawyers, giving them updates as to where the status of the Reagan Mass Transit District, or RTMD, actually stands. One of the actions they did take was actually to hire me a managing director for RMTD. And then they also put together a officer board. So the president or the chair of the board will be Jeremy England. Greg Sparrow, who used to be the mayor of DeKalb but now resides in Rochelle, will be the vice chair. and Akil Khan will be the treasurer. Amir Ramadani and Larry Callant will be the other trustees on that 5-member governing board, and their next meeting is scheduled for the 31st of this month. And behind the scenes, there's still a lot of shuffling of paperwork and the development of the Reagan Mass Transit District. In terms of other pieces ongoing currently, as we continue to operate as Leogo Transportation System, we're finalizing contracts for FY24 with IDOT. You can see the layout of those contractual amounts which have been proposed by IDOT for the next 12-month period, which will start on July 1st. In terms of rides being provided during the most recently concluded month of April, 6,590 rides, service hours, a little just under 1,900 hours of services, and miles of service, 49,000, fuel costs, roughly $19,300. For the most recently completed full week of activity, we had roughly 1,229 rides provided during the week of May 1st. Other development, we did partner with the Illinois Department of Transportation on a proposal to the federal low and no emission grant program, where we would seek additional EV, electric vehicle buses. And I'm happy to report that we actually got 3 used minivans in a transfer that was facilitated by IDOT from Northwestern Medical Center out of McHenry County. And actually 2 of them were 2016 minivans with not a lot of mileage on them. And the newest one was a 2019 with roughly 30,000 miles on them. So they will be greatly accepted into the system as I think this committee is really aware, and as not a surprising development, production continues to be somewhat of a huge barrier for the public transportation system here in the state of Illinois. But slowly but surely, we are getting some vehicles transferred to us to continue our operation, both minivans as well as what we would say are the larger buses, the small and medium duty buses that we use in the system. That's all I have for my report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Greg on that? No. Yeah. Definitely the government's putting the cart, carriage, supplies all before the horse on this particular issue.
Yes.
Okay, with that said, Chris Tennyson, would you like to walk us through your report?
Yes, I would. Thank you. A couple of highlights from my report. The first 2 paragraphs were what's going to be sent out in our newsletter that's going out to the 24 school districts in about a week. So just recapping a little bit about the year, and I am excited that our Teacher of the Year, Kim Radotzis from Oregon High School, and our Superintendent of the Year, Dr. P.J. Kaposi from Meridian Stillman Valley, are going to be recognized at the Ogle County Board meeting Tuesday night for their awards that they won, which was just outstanding for them both, and glad they're being recognized. The move is on schedule. Everything's going great. We are excited. We're packing. We did hit one snag. Our phone system is going to have to be replaced after 15 years, and some upgrades to the IT lines at the new location for the phone system. So that was about a $50,000 snag that we weren't counting on, but we did have some money budgeted for furniture, right around $50,000, because a lot of our furniture is from 20 years ago when we were in Grand Tour. And the staff, we just know now that we're going to take that furniture with us and use it the best we can. And after we get in the new location year by year, we'll commit to doing those replacements when we can. So we'll be good. We'll get the IT stuff done, and the move is still on time. The Marigold Awards that we give out every year, I've highlighted it before. It went very, very well. We had 16 educators from the 3 counties recognized with nominations, and they were all recognized for school. And then we had Rana Smith, who's a teacher at Rock Falls Middle School, was the overall winner, who also received all those things along with a $100 gift card to be used in their library at Rock Falls Middle School. So it was a great program, and it was great seeing a lot of those educators get recognized on our Facebook page. And congratulations to Rana Smith for being the overall winner. The updates are in there from all the professional development and things that we still have going on. We're heading into summer, and believe it or not, summer is an extremely busy time because we increase our professional development offerings because a lot of the educators are able to get more done in the summer being out of school. So it will be busy coordinating those along with that move June 12th, when we'll be kind of not have an in-person service for the June 12th through the June 19th, but we'll be ready to go June 20th and back open at our new location, and we'll have professional development going out at Sauk during that time, and certainly our some of the online offerings will continue. We did have our Education Pathways Symposium at Sauk Valley Community College last month. It was exciting. We had 20 local high school seniors graduate with our education pathway endorsement, which gets them a leg up on getting into education, which is very exciting for us and for Sauk Valley Community College. So that was a great event. We also, and many of the pictures that are in the newsletter this month are from the Education Pathways Summit. You have pictures of some of the things that we had going on there, the career fair, the interview. We did mock interviews for a lot of the seniors that are going to be going into education. That's Superintendent of Rock Falls High School, Ron McCord's, and one of them doing one of the mock interviews for the graduates. So they really enjoyed that. Also wanted to highlight that our Nexus program was awarded a $7,000 grant from Rochelle Community Foundation. Those funds will be used to expand and support our IRIS partnership in the Rochelle community. We continue to work with the families, over 5,000 family contacts and almost 200 referrals into the Nexus program to date, and we will be expanding and hiring another Nexus position that's currently posted. Updates are also in there from our Parents as Teachers program, and then I did want to hit on our Education Outreach program this month. Beth Hubbard, who has been in charge of that program for the 20 years it's been in existence, and Kathy Jacoby, who's dedicated 50 years of her life to education and has been the main teacher in that program. They're both retiring this year, and I just want to mention, and it's in my bulletin, that when they started this program in 2003, they were, funded to serve 15 students, and they were hoping to at least get 5 to 10 through a year, and they just hit their 500th graduate. So those two, Beth Hubbard and Kathy Jacoby, have helped 500 17-year-old to 24-year-olds in our 3 counties get their high school diploma that had dropped out of school. So pretty amazing, and we're going to be recognizing them at a little get-together in Rock Falls at the Candlelight coming up on May 25th, along with 2 other employees that are leaving. So sad to see them go, but we're excited. We've hired Rhiannon Seibel, who was our lead truancy officer, is going to move into Beth's position and take over that program. So we'll be excited for that amazing work to continue. Updates from our Regional Center for Change. You can see a lot of our end dates, and the Illinois Principals Association for the Northwest region, which is our 6 counties, the 3 that we're in, and then the 3 north of us. We host a student leadership brunch every year here in Dixon at the Elks Club, and each school is able to recognize 2 leaders at that breakfast and have their family attend, and it was really nice. We had 2 of our students from Center for Change, Leilani Davis and McKaylee Hand, were there with their parents to get recognized, and it was really super for them to be there. And then in our Truants Alternative program, I wanted to recognize one of our staff, Nicole Oberg. She was the recipient of the 2023 Crete Dillon Bowman Award for Community Leadership that was presented at the YWCA Women of Achievement Luncheon in April. The award is given to women who have exhibited outstanding volunteerism or leadership that has strengthened the community. Nicole's been with our Truant Alternative program for the last 3 years and has been recognized for her effort and dedication in the position, as well as other activities she is involved with. So big congratulations to her. And unfortunately, because of the work she has done, Sterling Public Schools made her an offer for a little bit more money and a little bit better situation. So we're going to be losing her to Sterling, but we're certainly happy for going to be doing there, and we'll get a new truancy officer hired to replace her. So busy times for us, but exciting times. I'm happy to take any questions about my report.
Any questions for Mr. Tennyson? All right, thank you very much for that. All right, Veterans Assistant Jim Gorner, Foreman is not here. He did mention to us that the VA is in dire need of volunteer drivers to take vets to the doctor appointments locally and to the Quad Cities and to the Veterans Hospital in Iowa. So, this is just something that he's in need of. We can, I don't know what suggestions we could have for this. But anyways, that's a need for the Veterans Assistance of Lee County. All right. All right, zoning. Dee, would you like to walk us through your zoning report?
Sure, thank you for having me. We finished up our Maples Road solar, community solar on Thursday night, and that'll be coming before you for a vote next week. We're heading into 3 more community solars within the next 4 weeks, so it's going to get really crazy for us, but you'll be seeing that next month coming at you. That's about it. Do you have anything to add?
All right. I see there's a couple of petitions. You guys have had a chance to look at that on your onboard. The petition's going to the Zoning Board of Appeals, one petition, 23P 1604. Is there a motion to move petition 23P 1604 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Mr. Gascoigne's first, Mr. Acree seconds it. Is there any discussion on this particular petition? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. All right, motion carried. Okay. Petitions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. There's one petition, 23P 1605, Maple Solar. The petition's on your onboard. You guys had a chance to look through that. Is there a motion to move petition 23P 1605 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda? Ms. White makes that first motion. Mr. Acree seconds it. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. All right. Petitions coming to the commission is none. Petitions coming from the planning commission is none. Unfinished business, there's nothing. This Leak Department, proposed environmental health codes. Kathy, do you want to go through the health department to answer any questions on the committee?
I just wanted to introduce Jennifer Kolb. She's our environmental health coordinator, and she's our resident environmental health expert. So she'll be fielding the majority of the questions.
Great.
And we weren't sure how exactly you wanted to go through this. Just question. I can tell you that is proposed to be removed, and any red text is proposed additions to the code.
Okay. Like I see in the one under chapter, you've got adoption references. It's in red, so that's going to be added.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So
And
similar
no,
to,
these have been approved by the Board of Health as well.
okay. All right.
Yes, the environmental health staff has been working hard on these the last several months, actually, and our board did approve them last week.
Okay. So these are just some changes, the necessary changes that need to be made to the health department code, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you guys all had a chance to look at some of these. Is there any questions you had in some of these changes that she's making? We have an opportunity to do it here while they're here.
Is there any major changes that just stood out that you could highlight, maybe just to comment on that possibly were something kind of a major change?
Okay, so we have 3 major programs: the food, sewer or septic, and then the water well program. All 3 of them had some updating. Last time the code amended was, I believe, in 2010, where we asked for some fee increases. So some of it is just some bookkeeping, updating on amendment. Since then, IDPH at adoption, but all 3 programs also do have, we're asking for amendment to fee structure. When we came, my predecessor came before the board in 2010, we set a 10-year plan with every 2 years for the food program. The food permit would increase. That expired in 2020. So again, and that was kind of what the board asked for previously. So again, I am asking for another 10-year fee structure for the food program, for the full-time food permits. Things have changed a little bit. Now we're not having as many brick and mortar food establishments. We're having a lot of mobile trucks or trailers. So we also want to issue them a 6-month permit since they don't really operate year-round. But if they would choose to reapply, the 2 6-month permits would equal what a brick and mortar would pay for a full-time, to be fair. So again, that's just the fee increases pretty much for the food program. We looked very hard at all three programs, what our costs were, and also we looked at the surrounding counties' costs to make sure we were comparable. We were way below on most of our programs than the surrounding counties. So the fee structure that we have set in place should hopefully bring us slowly up to what they're charging. And for instance, Stevenson County right now is charging $850 for their full-time food permit for a high risk. I believe we in our fee structure would not reach that until 2033. And by that time, they'll be farther ahead of us. So we're not asking, it may seem like a lot, but we're really not asking for that much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other questions for? All right, is there a motion to move the proposed environmental health code updates to the executive committee for inclusion on the May County Board agenda? Katie White, first, seconded by Mr. Gascoigne. Any more discussion on these proposed environmental health code updates? Yeah, go ahead.
Like Kathy had mentioned, their team has worked really, really hard on all of these.
It looks like there's a lot
Had
of
to
stuff
go
in there.
through,
Yes.
you know, the new FDA improvement changes, and it's months and months of hard work. So if you do get a chance to read it, I know it's a lot, but the changes are thoughtful, and you know, they've really made an effort into all the fee changes as well. So I applaud her group.
Thank you for that. Okay, any other discussions on that or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, all right, I don't see anything under the executive session. Do we have a?
Sorry, I just realized that Tom's been sitting here joining the meeting because he wanted to share something that the board's been working on as well. And I didn't give it in my report because I knew Tom was going to, so.
Okay, well, Tom, you got something to share with us?
I would have stopped you before you got any further.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Tourism Focus Group was appointed by the chairman some months ago to look into tourism. Give you a little background on that. Our hotel motel tax for the county, what we've done in the past, it was agreement between the city of Dixon and Lee County to split that 50-50 with a 1.5% administrative fee coming off of it. And each entity got approximately $88,650 a year, give or take a little of that. Well, the city of Dixon has sent us a certified letter that they will, by the end of the year, step out of that agreement. They're going to spend the money for things they're doing out at the edge of town, which makes sense to us. You can be upset with the city, but that's their decision. It makes sense. So that's going to cut us back. And what we will get then is the hotel motel tax on Lee County, which amounts to about 27% or $49,000 annually. And we know that the Lincoln Way Inn will be closing later this year in Franklin Grove, which will reduce us $7,000 to $8,000. So our objective was to analyze, develop, and present a recommendation to the board of a sustainable tourism program that promotes economic and community development. So doing that, the team, and two of your board members were on our team, at least partially, we up with three groups to meet with. We met with Discover Dixon. We met with the present Lee County Tourism Group. And we met with Blackhawk Waterways on what we could do for sustainable tourism. After those three meetings, we did an analysis and we did pros and cons. And our decision is that the best thing for Lee County is to enter into a contract agreement with Discover Dixon. And that will be come before the board later. But it will be a 2-year contract at $45,000 annually. Only a 2-year contract to see what the results are and how it works out. We would get quarterly reports from the board. We would also have a seat on their board as we do on the present tourism board. Wendy and I met with the present tourism board last week down at Amboy and met their group. Explain to them this exact same explanation of what we've done, how we looked at it, and try to answer their questions for them. Wendy's working now on developing an MOU for disillusionment or the dissolving of their organization, excuse me. And by the bylaws, any funds, financial records, and other property becomes a property of the county of Lee. So they've got some records will be shredded. They've got some records will be coming to us. And there's going to be some things going on. One of their questions is they do taxes the end of the year. This is going to end the end of November. What do they do? So Wendy has graciously agreed to meet with them and get all those things taken care of. We also will revise the Lee County Tourism Ordinance to reflect the change. And you'll see some of these things coming on the board agenda next week. If you got any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them.
Good things going on. All right. Any questions more for Tom on that? All right. Well, thank you, Tom, for that. Is there a motion to adjourn? Katie? Don't fight. Hey, he seconds it? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carried. Adjourn.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. It goes through, it's connected to my computer. So even if my phone is silent and my computer's on, the computer will work.
Well, turn your sound off on your computer.
I just did, I just realized that. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Of course, I should say at the beginning
Is an idiot.
to silence your computer
Silence your
and,
computer.
and,
Thanks for the help.
yes. I do. I will. I think I'm in trouble. I'm getting called to the office. They got.
It won't be 10 days in advance of the newspaper notice if that recommendation today is technically following this. Are we awarding a contract or are we just picking a qualified provider? If we're awarding a contract, we can't do anything until we award it because that was just.
If you're approved.
Now we start that negotiation process. We start figuring out what we want, what we don't want. Then we get to that savings account, whereby we're going to say, we're going to team, you're going to say project. That is the actual.
And you're not actually trying to approve it. I think either, because you got to.
Yeah, we're not approving.
So I guess where I'm hung up is, it says the names of the parties to the contract, since they're going to be the provider during the procurement process, are we saying that nothing's happening?
The way that reads, I'm supposed to put in the newspaper 10 days in advance of awarding the contract. Well, right now, we haven't done anything, and if I put in the newspaper, we'll go to Valley, well, the board hasn't made that decision, so I can't put that notice in the newspaper.
All right.
Which is why I asked.
All right.
So would you agree that if they should, can they make a public recommendation?
For the provider?
That's where we thought we were, is selecting that provider. At least a recommendation at this point. It won't become official. Says, yeah, this is the company we're going to start to negotiate with.
And then once they do that, once the provider goes to the full board and they approve it, at that point, this public notice, once we have all of our ducks in a row.
Well, in the meantime, though, a public notice did go in, but I left the parties to the contract as the parties to the contract shall be Lee County and the selected qualified provider. I didn't name it because I couldn't. So I did that just to cover our butts, but the question Wilson's asking me now is, are we make a recommendation or are we not? Should we leave it to the full board? Have to go behind the scenes. Okay, this is the plan. We get a recommendation at the meeting, I think it goes. That's what's fine. All right.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Got about a half an hour, it looks like, till the next one.
I'll be back.
You go for it. Yep, absolutely. You go for it. Oh, shoot. I just realized I didn't end this meeting